everybody, and welcome back to Japan, where it is time for us to talk about the latest GLIM SPANKY song. I believe it's the latest one, at least. If it's not, then I apologise. Something tells me that people are going to be mad about the fact that I always forget song names, and I've already forgotten the song name of this one, even though I just reacted to it a few minutes ago. Something about By Myself again, I think. As always, this is the review video. If you want to see the reaction that I just recorded, then pause this video, click the little link in the description below, and it'll open a separate video player where you can watch the reaction should you need to hear the song first of all, in case you haven't heard it, or if you just want to see me reacting to it myself. Now, I have realised while I was doing this that my glasses steam up really badly when I'm talking, so it's I'm trying to work out desperately how to do this without steaming up. There you go, I'm perching them on the front of my mask. Anyway, so if you're ready, we'll start talking about the song. Oh yeah, and I reacted to it just up in there, like about half an hour ago. But I thought, hey, I'll come down to do the review, and thus here I am. So, what are we going to say about the new GLIM SPANKY song? Well, some things are a given from the get-go. Obviously, no one's going to be surprised when I say that the vocal delivery in this song is absolutely fantastic. As always, her voice is both powerful, but it also has a bit of grit and a bit of bite to it. Now, they go for a sort of sound style which is often very retro, but one of the things that I like about it is that there is always a lot of very good job done with the crafting of the sounds. I mean, yes, a lot of the sounds that you hear in their songs are ones that we've heard before. You know, I wouldn't say there's anything particularly original about the palette of sounds that they draw from, and yet they put it together in a way that is just always fantastic, you know, all the right sounds together. It kind of like how you can say that, you know, rock bands can, you know, they're all drawing basically from the same palette. Most, you know, hard rock bands is, you know, your normal distorted guitars, bass drums, etc. But some of them can put it together in a way where they get a really interesting sound, you know, your Led Zeppelins, I guess you could say, and then some of them can put it together in a way where it's just bland and boring. Your Nickelbacks, maybe we say. It's not just songwriting, it's actually sound crafting as well. So, to me, when you hear what GLIM SPANKY are doing, one of the things that I really enjoy about it is the fact that just sometimes they'll pick up sounds, and like I say, they're not sounds that you've never heard before, but you go, yeah, that was just right, you know, the right guitar tone, the right everything. Now this kind of went for a more simple approach. This was less of the bombasticness that we've heard in a few of their songs. I mean, obviously we've reviewed a few of their songs now already, but not enough to say that we are, should we say, consummate experts in the field of GLIM SPANKY. However, I would say that I always got the feeling that most of their songs kind of have almost a sort of swaggery soul to them. They've got a lot of impact, they've got a lot of bite. I don't mean swaggery as in sort of arrogant attitude, I mean as in, you know, sort of really, yeah, kind of emotionally certain, shall we say. This was a much more gentle affair than many of the songs that we've heard by them before, and almost in sort of a wistful, relaxed, rolling along way. It had a almost Carpenter's-esque vibe. I was sort of getting vibes of Carpenter's, Joni Mitchell, all that kind of stuff, which is more than welcome. So obviously, however, this is a style where, you know, we've got talking acoustic guitars and everything. You'd think of it as being a slightly more thin palette, and again, I don't mean thin in a negative way, but I mean, it's not designed to be thick music, it's designed to be wistful, it's designed to be light. So you think of it as being a slightly more thin palette, but I did again like the way that they picked their sounds. There was a really good concentration on, sorry, I didn't say something like Nihonjin, Japanese people. Obviously, he wasn't talking about me. Or unless he's saying Japanese people would never react on a mini SLR camera in the middle of the Dory Park. So, yeah, there was a nice sort of rolling beat, that sort of chugging beat. Again, this is something that is a very familiar style to that sort of music, but I just liked how they employed that in this song. There was lots of those touches, you know, the way the guitar was being played, the rhythm of guitar, simple but just right on point. I think there was a lot of rhythmic techniques in this actually, because like I say, sonically it's not like there was a lot of different sounds you could play with, but the techniques used in the rhythm were very good. I've got to talk quickly so that music you can hear in the background doesn't get copyright claimed or something like that. So yeah, those sort of rhythmic elements helped a lot, but I think overall all of that colouring was great, and it was amazing how they still managed to do that in the same way that they do for all of their other slightly more bombastic style songs as well. You have slightly more impactful, bigger songs as well. But all that really did was that underpinned the key quality of this was just very musically well written. It kind of gave me a feeling of sort of like almost like a Bob Dylan-esque approach to the way the chord and the melody were written. It was identifiable, not necessarily in the most catchy way, but moreover in having a really easy to follow and yet very interesting sound. I mean, I mentioned in the chorus there's that wonderful little run on the vocal melody where it kind of goes up in a place you don't expect, and you get a little chord change that isn't the most obvious chord changes. You could just hear there's a little bit of thought going into, how do we... this is one of the big things about writing chords and melody, is a lot of the time you're thinking about how do you steer the emotion, because literally the way that one chord, one note follows on from the next one is how you construct the mood. And it sounds such a simple thing, but people often don't think about this. They just think about, you put together 4 chords that work. It's like, no, sometimes you put in a chord that doesn't necessarily work simply because that elicits a different emotional effect. And to me, that was what I liked about this. It was predictable when it needed to be, and it had those little changes, those little bits that just show we're looking at people who actually put care and craft into every note, every chord. Again, this sounds like such a simple thing, but if you've ever worked with songwriting, or if you've ever been a songwriter, or if you just really appreciate good music, or good music writing, I'm not saying you have to, but I think a lot of people in those categories would recognise and very much appreciate when you hear those little bits of writing. Because like I said, if we take, for example, I'm a big follower of stuff like, I grew up around a lot of pop, not so much pop, that's not really what I want to make the point about. I'm more making a point about like punk and pop punk. Those genres can be really fun, I do enjoy them, but one of the things that really mars them, and is kind of almost a signature quality, is that the chord patterns are very predictable. Most of what makes them interesting is the way that they like harmonise, vocals, or like interesting riffs or lyrical things, stuff like that. It's very sort of surface fun, but usually the chord pattern's very simple, and it's that sort of, well, hey, if we play G, then of course C and D follow. It's that kind of attitude. Again, something that often comes up in country as well. But the good songwriters very often, like I say, it's that quality of knowing how to subvert that in a way that you're actually, you're moulding a mood, you're telling a story through the chord pattern and the songwriting. And for me, that was very evident in this song, that they kind of had that, like I say, maybe only in little ways, but it really stood out, really made the song feel and sound special. So, anyway, that's my feelings. This is one where it gave me just sort of a general feeling of, is this the sort of song I would normally listen to? It's not really my normal type of music, but there's not really a genre of music I dislike. It's just not the sort of thing I very often feel myself going towards, that sort of wistful, light, old school folk rock. However, I think if I was in the mood for something like this, it definitely would be one that I would go for. I have just accidentally photobombed someone throwing their kid. They've got me YouTubing in the background. I do feel kind of bad about that. And so it's, like I say, considering it's not something I would naturally go for, it raised a lot of appreciation, as often their songs do when I hear them. So I can't help but feel that whether I would necessarily listen to this so much is not necessarily the proper judgment. I think more of a judgment is that I came away from it feeling like, yeah, that was good music. I just listened to good music, and I enjoyed it, and I could very easily appreciate the performance and the writing. So, yeah, I think there's little more we can say about this one, except for good job. Good job, and if I'm in the mood for some wistful folk rock, I'll come a knockin'. Anyway, as always, that's my thoughts, those are my opinions, but music is subjective to opinion. It's only as good as it is for you, the listener, so please leave your comments as well. Feel free to like, subscribe, all these things are great as we're a non-monetized channel. And yes, if you leave your opinions, please, like I do, try and justify them so we can have a good conversation based off of what you think. So, thank you for that. Thank you if you want to follow any of the social medias, links in the description below. Big thank you to anyone who follows our Patreon, because we're a non-monetized channel, as I say, so that really does keep this whole thing afloat. And yeah, other than that, I think that pretty much covers everything. So, I think he was talking to me. I don't know what he said. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. So, until I hopefully see you very soon. Oh god, I'm underneath a microphone, underneath a speaker that's playing licensed music. Let's get away from that. Until I hopefully see you very soon again in Japan for another one of these. For now, ciao ciao.